All right, good morning everybody. Welcome. Today is final lesson. I know have been doing this division of polynomials for feels like forever, but today is the final lesson, all right? Basically, you've had a pretty good understanding of how to divide these polynomials. So just to warm up, what I'd like you to do for the do now is evaluate this division of the polynomial. If you have 3x squared minus 13x minus 10, all divided by x minus 5. And the next question is, what is 12x cubed plus 20x squared plus 11x plus 2, all divided by 3x plus 2. What I'll do is, what I want you to do right now is pause the video, take a look at these two questions, and try and do them on your own. And in about 10 seconds, I'll explain exactly how to do the problem. So please pause the video, okay? Let's say you unpause the video, you finish, and you want to check out the solutions. Watch and learn. It will be, let's see, what is the first thing you ask yourself? How many times is x going to 3x squared? And the side note for that would be 3x squared divided by x over here, that is equal to 3x. So it goes in 3x times. So 3x times x is 3x squared. Then what do? 3x times negative 5 is negative 15x. And what do? Underline over here, parentheses, subtract, just like you've been doing. Now here, hopefully you didn't make an error when it came to subtracting this, but you have negative 13x, I'll write it over here, you have negative 13x minus a minus 15x, and that should be a minus and a minus is plus, so you have negative 13x plus 15x, and you should get 2x over here. So this will be 2x. Then what do? You bring down the negative 10, and we have this. What's the next step? Ask yourself how many times is x going to 2x, and it goes in twice, because 2x divided by 2 is equal to 2. Oh God, is equal to 2. So this is positive 2. And 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 5 is negative 10. Parentheses, subtract. And 2x minus 2x is 0. Negative 10 minus a minus 10, that will be plus 0. So we have remainder 0, and we are done. So remember, our final answer is when you divide 3x squared minus 13x minus 10, when you divide this whole thing by x minus 5, you get 3x plus 2. Okay? And that is our final answer. Let's look at the next question. If you have this polynomial divided by this polynomial, what is the first thing you ask yourself? How many times does 3x go into 12x cubed? It goes in, if we do the algebra over here, if you ever get confused on how to do this, remember it's always this divided by this. So it's 12x cubed divided by 3x. Okay? And now, if you want, let's do this slowly. 12 divided by 3 is 4, and x cubed divided by x is x squared. Okay, so this is 4x squared. And now, what do you do with this 4x squared? You do the same routine, the same rhythm you did here. You're going to do here. So this is 4x squared times 3x is 12x cubed. 4x squared times positive 2 is positive 8x squared. Same thing, parentheses, minus, okay? 12x cubed minus 12x cubed is cancels, 0. 20x squared minus 8x squared, this is 12x squared. You bring down the positive 11x. Now what do? You ask yourself how many times does 3x go into 12x squared, and you get positive 4x. Because 12x squared divided by 3x, this is 12 divided by 3 is 4. X squared divided by x is x, and this 4x goes right here. And you do the same thing. 4x times 3x is 12x squared. 4x times 2 is positive 8x. Parentheses, minus. This cancels. 11x minus 8x is 3x. Bring down the positive 2. And what do you get? How many times does 3x go into 3x? How many times does 3x go into 3x? Oh God, you can't see that. Okay, it's right here. This is 1. So this is positive 1. So you have 1 times 3x is 3x, 1 times 2 is positive 2, parentheses, parentheses, subtract, and you get 0. And we're done. And this is our answer. Okay? So, what was game plan today? In video 3A, hopefully I can make the second video. I am running short on time. It is 7:33. I got here late, but let's see if we can do this. So, 3A. It says, what happens when exponents are not in descending order? And I will explain what that means. Let's take a look at this problem over, where's my sheet? Let's take a look at this problem from this sheet that you had before, right? I remember some of you guys had a problem doing this question here. This x cubed minus 27 divided by x minus 3. And I'll show you what to do. So, if we have x cubed minus 27 all divided by x minus 3, how do we do this? So let's see. The same thing we ask ourselves, how many times does x go into x cubed? It goes in x squared times x is x cubed, and then x squared times minus 3 is negative 3x squared, right? And then what do? You do parentheses, parentheses, you do your minus, then x cubed minus x cubed is canceled, is 0. But then you have this. You have negative 27 minus a minus 3x squared. You can't subtract these two. So what happens? What do we do? You see, in the previous problems, when you multiplied this 3x times x, the degree, the x, you got 3x squared, and these two matched. They always matched. You were able to subtract these. When you did 3x times negative 5 to get negative 15x, look at the exponents. They match. You can subtract 13x minus 15x to get 2x. You can do that. And the same thing here. The exponents always match. If you had 4x squared times 3x, you got 12x cubed. And you can subtract these two because they're like terms. Remember, they have an x and an x in the same degree. And the same thing happened here. You see how you have the same variable and same exponent? And that's why you could add and subtract them. And the same thing here. 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 And you consistently, these initial problems I gave you, they were designed to have these exponents match. And now we have a situation where the exponent does not match. You cannot do 27, you can't do negative 27 minus a minus 3x squared. What will this be? You know, it'll just be negative 27 plus 3x squared, okay? And that's what you have to do. You have to write this 3x squared minus 27. And right now you feel like, oh, everything seems very confusing. So what we're going to do is this little technique that I thought of. Let's say if you have x cubed minus 27, right? Do you agree or disagree that it's the same as x cubed plus 0x squared plus 0x to the 1, there should be a 1 there, minus 27? Is this okay? Isn't this the same as this? Because if you were to, let's say if you were to just look at this, right? This is x cubed. This is 0 times x squared. That's just 0. This is just 0. And then you just have minus 27. So they're the same thing. But there's a reason why we're going to show it like this, okay? And it'll help you organize this long division. So instead of having this over here with our initial question, what we're going to do is we're going to make it look like this. And something nice will happen. So instead of this, let's change it to this. So you have x cubed plus 0x, here let's do a line like that. X cubed plus 0x squared plus 0x minus 27. And this is all divided by x minus 3. And you're going to see something. Okay, so let's use a different color. And what do? We ask ourselves, how many times does x go into x cubed? It goes in x squared times x is x cubed. Now x squared minus 3, remember x squared times negative 3 is negative 3x squared, right? Now, where do you think you should put this? Okay, it'll land right here. You see how the exponents, the variable and the exponents match? Now look, it looks nice and how you like it, negative 3x squared. You see it matches. Here, they're not in the same row, okay? So here, now what do? We just do our famous parentheses, parentheses, subtract. And then what do we get? We get x cubed minus x cubed is canceled. And now here, careful, you have 0, right? You have 0 x squared minus a minus 3x squared. And that gives you what? Parentheses, parentheses, this is 0x squared plus 3x squared, which is equal to 3x squared. Okay? So this is 3x squared. And then now, before, the last technique, when we had these problems over here, you brought down only one term. Let's say hypothetically in this question, if you did bring down that 2 over there, that plus 2, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't really change anything. So from now on, when you have something like this, just bring everything down. Okay, so we're going to bring everything down. So this is plus 0x minus 27. Okay, and now we have how many times? So once we get here, it's the same routine. What do you ask yourself? How many times does x go into 3x squared? It goes in positive 3x times, right? So it's 3x times x is 3x squared. Then 3x times negative 3 is negative 9x. Okay, and you see how the degrees, the exponents, they match, and we're allowed to subtract them now because they're like terms. So this 3x squared minus 3x squared cancels. This is 0 minus a minus 9 is positive 9x. Okay, and then you bring down to 27. Then what do? You ask yourself the same thing. How many times does x go into 9x? This is plus 9. So it's 9 times x is 9x, and 9 times negative 3 is negative 27, and voila, we get 0. Okay, now we get 0. Okay, you saw how here it was a little confusing, but this setup will help you do these types of division, just in case you get them. Let's do one more example, and then I'll give you a few examples to do. And yeah, what I'd like you to do is following the, let's look at this one. Following the last video, the last example, pause, here, let me show you. So x to the 4th minus 81 divided by x plus 3. Okay? So remember, when you have something like this, you want to change this to make it look like what? To make it look like what? Something like this. So you see here, let's take a look at the last example. If you had x cubed minus 27, this is also equal to x cubed plus 0x squared plus 0x minus 27. Okay? So now we're going to have for this question x to the 4th minus 81. Let's make it look something like this. Okay? So this will equal what? This will equal x to the 4th plus 0x. What would be the next exponent? After 4 comes 3. What will be the next one? 0x squared plus 0x to the 1. And then you have minus 81. Okay? So this will be our new setup. We're going to have this. We're going to have x to the 4th, plus 0x squared, plus 0x cubed, plus 0x squared, plus 0x minus 81. Okay? And the original question was divide that by x plus 3. And the same exact techniques that you have been doing, you remember, you ask yourself how many times does x go into 3x squared, how many times does 3x go into 12x cubed. You're asking yourself the same thing, how many times does x go into x to the fourth, okay? And then you just keep going. So this will be the end of this video. What we'll do is we'll just solve this problem together in class. How much time? 15 minutes, 20 seconds, okay. Try and solve this problem on your own. Remember, if you have any questions, you let me know. And yeah, okay, I'll see you in class.